Hi there, today we're going to recreate one of the rarest golf club sets in the world. Now this is the MP-20 Raw Copper Edition. These were released back in May 2020 and only 500 sets were ever made. They sold out within 2 hours of being released. What we've got here is a set of genuine Mizuno MP-20s, and our customer wants us to transform them so they look just like the original Raw Copper Edition. Is that fake? I'll let you decide and comment below. But here we go, let's see how we do it. The first thing that we do is we book it in and list all the items out on the order. We take a picture of all the parts and then we print this out, and it gets sealed in a bag along with the paperwork, and it goes into the workshop. Now that we're into the stripping shop, we're going to remove the chrome plating that's already on these clubs back to the bare metal. We've already removed the paint from inside the numbers, etc. We skipped that because it's a bit boring, but what we're doing here is we're putting these onto copper hooks so that we can pass a current through them, and that way we actually plate the old plating off. Here they are going into the stripper tank. That's made up with mostly sulfuric acid and another few bits, and what we do is we reverse the normal plating polarity and actually plate it off. There we go, it's cooking away now, and after half an hour or so it's time to remove them. Once these are all removed, what we've got to do is give them a really good rinse off. So they're being rinsed of all that acid, etc. So they're back to the bare metal. Now once we've hung them up to dry off, it's time for them to go into the polishing shop. Here they are, stripped, ready for polishing. Now we're in the polishing shop, it's time to get the gloves on and get ready to polish these clubs. What we've got to do is remove all of the marks that are in there from where they've clinked together in bags and dragged across the floor. So what we're going to do is we're going to start out, this is probably about a 240 grit belt, and we're going to work our way all over it to remove all the marks. The one thing that's really important is we've got to make sure that we don't distort the shape. It's really easy to dig in with the edge of the belt, or just to misshape something, take corners off, all that sort of thing. So always being mindful of which way we're holding it against the abrasives and how we're actually doing the job. Once we've gone over it with all these abrasives, then we're going to change to a different type of abrasive. First of all, we're going to need to dig and find some tools so we can get into the nooks and crannies, and this is a mop that's dressed up with an abrasive compound called sateen. It's a greaseless polishing compound. And then we're going to get into the awkward bits that we can't get into with the belt, and also this is a finer grade, so we can remove some of the marks that we've just put in it with the previous abrasive. Here it is being dressed up. And we're not far off. Soon we'll be finished. And there we go. This is all ready for copper plating. We just want to give them a wipe over. Now we're in the plating shop, and this has been wired up onto a jig so that we can pass a current through it. The first thing is to wipe it all down to get rid of any marks from grease, dirt, fingerprints, all of it. Cleanliness is absolute king when it comes to plating. Now we're passing an electrical current through it. You can see it fizzing away. What's happening is it's going to blast any oxides off the surface, and it's going to leave the metal in what we call an active condition. This way it'll accept the plating and it will bond to the surface properly. What we're doing with these is we're going to put a layer of nickel on first. Normally, if you're going into an acid copper solution, which is what these will be plated in, you would normally put on something like a cyanide copper layer, but as we're trying to emulate Mizuno's process, we're putting nickel on first. So out the nickel tank. It's going through the same rinse process again. And then straight into the copper. They're going to be in here for the best part of an hour to put a decent coating on. And there it is, bubbling away. Now it's time to come out of the copper, and as you can see, they're looking fantastic. Just rinsing the copper solution off, and as these are going to be left in copper, we're going to dip them into this solution, and what that does is it helps prevent the copper from oxidising as it's drying off, or else we'll get sort of iridescent streaks on it as the water dries off. Once we've rinsed that solution off, it's time to hang them up and let the water dry off them. There you go, how they look fresh out of the tank. Now the water's off them, it's just a case of taking them off the jigs, and these are nearly finished, but we just need to do a little bit more work to them so they're completely finished for the customer. The very last thing that we've got to do is we've got to put that satin textured finish on the face of these and on the top edge. So that we don't damage the copper that's on there, I'm going to have to mask off the areas that are still left bright. If I don't, we're just going to end up destroying the finish that we've just done. All this masking is quite a laborious process, so let's fast forward it a bit. Now these are finished, I just need to put that satin effect on the top edge and on the front face. Normally I would do this with the shot blaster if these were a chromed set of clubs, but the copper is way too soft to do that, so I'm just using a Scotch-Brite pad and it's being done manually. Let's fast forward this bit. All that's left to do is to remove the tape, and then you can see the contrast between the satin face and the rest of the bright copper finish. It's a really good looking combination. And then they are finished, a complete set of MP-20 Copper Edition recreations. Genuine MP-20s. And we've done our best to replicate the original Mizuno raw copper finish. What a good looking piece of golf equipment, even if I do say so myself.